Guys, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be on how I achieved this makeup look. So if you're interested in learning how I achieved this look, please keep on watching and don't forget to like this video, share it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.
I always like to start my foundation routine by applying the makeup Magnesia all over my face. I find that this is the only primer that works for me. So I just blend the Magnesia all around my face so that it sits in well into my skin. Then I'll be moving over to getting my foundation and my foundation brush to apply the foundation all around my face. I just newly discovered this Glam Girls foundation and I'll be trying it out today. Though it seems to be a little lighter than the shade of my skin, but towards when I'm done applying my foundation, I'm going to use my setting powder to just tone everything down. I'm carefully just applying that foundation under my chin area, and I'm starting to extend it towards the other side of my face and blending it, using the foundation to cover the spots on that part of my face. I must say that this foundation is really full coverage, like it does a whole lot in covering the spots on one's face. So for my I'm basically just blending that foundation all around my face. For my hairline, I'm trying to be very careful, like I'm just applying very little foundation to that part of my face and blending carefully. I'm not really extending it into my hairline because by the time I'll be contouring my face, I'll just try to make sure that the concealer I'll be using in contouring my face blends well with my hairline. So I just keep trying to buff that foundation into my skin and making sure everything is well blended and sitting well in my skin. So just keep blending that foundation just to ensure it looks nice. So I'm just taking it down towards under my chin and my neck, and I'm extending it towards my ears. When applying your foundation, you have to ensure you take it to the corners of your face, the sides of your nose, under your lip area, your ear. You extend it down to your neck, and if possible, if the foundation doesn't really match up with your skin, it's best you probably extend it a bit towards your shoulder area, but make sure you blend it well. So now I'm going to be highlighting my face with the E.Y.E.S Pro Concealer in the shade Fawn. So I'm just applying that concealer to my under eye area, my chin, my cupid's bow, and my forehead, then over to the bridge of my nose. So after applying that concealer to the parts of my face that I like to highlight, I'm going to be using the same brush I used in applying my foundation to blend that concealer into my skin. I like to use this brush because I find that it's just easier on my skin. I find it easier on compared to the beauty blender, though most people tend to use the beauty blender, but I use just my brush. What I basically do is after I've applied my foundation with the same brush, I just reach for a clean wipe and I wipe the brush all around it. Then I use the brush in blending the concealer on my highlighted part into my skin. So I'll just keep blending that product, and I'll be using my hand to blend the concealer on the bridge of my nose. Then I'll just reach back for more of that concealer just to apply a bit more to highlight the bridge of my nose a bit more. So I'm just blending everything in, just to make sure everything is well seated. Then I'm just going to define the sides of my nose and further blend everything well in place. So next up, I'll be reaching for my Elegant concealer in the shade Toffee, I think, or Beautiful Bronze actually. So I'm going to be applying that concealer to my hairline, the sides of my chin, the sides of my face, sides of my nose. Then I'll be using the same brush I used in applying my concealer. I already wiped the brush to take off any of the leftover concealers on the brush. Now I'm just using that brush. I'm just pressing the brush a bit and using it to define the hollows of my cheeks and blending the concealer on my forehead. This is really important. Like you can see now, I'm just basically using that concealer now to restore like some warmth to my skin. I'm using that concealer now to ensure that my hairline, my face blends with my hairline. So I'm carefully doing that. You can see that it's beginning to look much better, unlike when I was just looking plain or white. So I'll just keep blending the concealer on the hollows of my cheeks, my hairline. Then I'll reach for the concealer and apply more to my, I'll reach for a concealer brush and start to blend the concealer on the sides of my nose. I'm carefully doing that and extending the contour down to beginning part of my brow. This just basically to ensure that my nose looks well defined. So now I'm just going to reach back for my eyebrow spoolie, just to make sure I brush the brows in place, just in case I may have altered something I'd already done. Then I'll apply a little more of that concealer and blend, just in case I wiped out some of the highlights I placed there. Then next off, I'll be blending it a bit more, blending the sides of my nose a bit more. Then next, I'll be reaching for my blending brush just to blend my under eye area so that everything looks seamless. Then I'll be applying the concealer, the Beautiful Bronze concealer, to my chin area. I'm just going to blend the concealer so that it blends. Just trying to blend the concealer into my face so that it blends well. I'm carefully doing this and I'm going in a circular motion so that it blends well. I'm often taking it to under my chin area and also further blending the concealer on my forehead. I'm just going to reach back into my concealer using highlighting my face, just to apply a little more of that to cover any of the dark circles I have under my eye area. Take note, this step is not really necessary. It depends on if you really want to have that overtly highlighted under eye area, but then if you don't need that, you could skip that. So I'm using that brush now just to blend that part of my face so that it doesn't look too white there. So I'm basically blending the contour and the highlights in. So at this point now, I'm just trying to blend things together so it sits in well. So I'm going to be using the Sacha Buttercup setting powder to set the highlighted part of my face. So I'm just taking that powder now and applying it under my eye area and extending it to the sides of my nose. I'll be doing the same for both sides of my face. You can see I'm just extending the powder to the sides of my nose, then to my upper lip area, my chin, and I'll be applying it now to the bridge of my nose. I'm basically just setting the highlight I had placed here and then over to my forehead area just above my eyebrow. This is basically to make sure you set all the concealer you used in setting that part of your face. And I'm just going to define the hollows of my cheeks by just applying that setting powder underneath the contour I had applied there. I'm going to be taking this off just after applying it so that it doesn't leave a white cast there. So I'll just blend it off with my powder brush. So after doing that, I'm going to be reaching for this P.O.W.D.E.R oil control palette, and I'm going to be using that palette there to define my face. I'm going to be using the dark shade there to contour the hollows of my cheeks. I'm basically just defining the hollows of my cheeks with the darker shade in the palette. So after doing that, I'm going to reach for the medium shade in the palette, and I'm just going to blend that shade on my forehead area. This is just to ensure that I set the foundation I applied on that part of my face, and I'm using a darker shade, that's the darker shade in the palette now, just to set my chin area and make sure I blend that setting powder I applied under the hollows of my cheeks. So I'm just blending that dark shade under my chin, the sides of my, underneath the hollows of my cheeks, and I'm also blending it towards my neck a bit. So now I'm using that brush now to define my chin area. I really like my chin to look well defined, so I'm using the brush now to just define my cheeks a bit more while I'm extending the shade down towards my neck. So now we're moving over to contouring the sides of our nose. So I'm using this fluffy angled brush now with my E.Y.E.S powder palette to define the sides of my nose. I'm basically just extending that product down towards my brow area, then towards the tip of my nose. So I'm carefully just blending that product all around the sides of my nose to ensure that my nose is well defined. So after doing that, I'll be reaching for my spoolie just to ensure that I brush my brows in place. Then I'll reach for my blush palette. This is the Beauty Treat blush palette. I'm going to be applying the reddish shade in that blush palette on my cheek area, and then extending it and blending it into that contour I applied on my cheeks, on the hollows of my cheeks. So when I'm done applying my blush, I'm going to be using my powder brush to sweep off the excess from the setting powder I used in highlighting my face. So I'm just blending that setting powder off, making sure that I blend it well with the other powder I used in setting the sides of the parts of my face that I didn't highlight. Then next I'll be using the Balm Cosmetics highlighter palette to highlight above my cheeks. So I'm using this fan brush now to highlight the sides of my face. I'm finding that it's not really coming out well, so I just use the wipe now just to wet that fan brush a bit, so that by the time I'm digging into the highlighter, it comes out much better. So now, as you can see now, it's coming out the way I like it to. So I'm just blending that highlight on my cheeks down to my cheekbone area. I'm just blending the highlight on my cheekbone area. So after highlighting my cheekbone area, I'm going to be highlighting the tip of my nose. After highlighting the tip of my nose, I'm just going to highlight the parts in between my eye area, just that part. I didn't highlight the entire bridge of my nose. I just highlighted the tip and the part in between my eye area. So after highlighting the bridge of my nose, I'm going to reach for a shader brush and apply highlights to my brow bone area. If you don't like to do this, you could skip it. If you don't like to see like shimmers underneath your brow bone area, it's totally fine to skip that step, but I like to do it. That's why I always do it. So after highlighting my brow bone area, I'll be moving over to my lips. I already applied my lip balm around my lips, and I'm using this Zaron lip liner. It's a red lip liner to line my lips. I'm just using that pencil now to define my lips to ensure that it is well shaped. So while defining my lips with the lip liner, I'm also applying the lip liner around my lips a bit, so that when I'm applying my lipstick, it blends well with my lipstick. And after applying the lip liner, I'll reach for my lipstick, apply it on my bottom lip and also to my upper lips. When I'm done applying my lip liner, my lipstick, I'm going to be reaching for an angled brush and a concealer to define the sides of my lips. So when I'm done defining the sides of my lips, I'll be reaching for my setting spray to set the whole of my makeup in place. So I'm just trying to ensure that I define the sides of my lips well. After doing that, I'm going to reach for a brush to blend that concealer I used in defining my lips into the other part of my face. After blending it in, I'm going to go back to my Zaron lip liner to just further define the upper part of my lips, because I didn't use the concealer to define that part of my lips. So now I'll be moving over to setting my entire face with this makeup fixer. This is just to ensure everything sits in well and it locks in everything. So I'm putting that highlight at the arm's length and spraying it all around my face. So I'll just let it dry. And
so this is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup video. I hope you find it helpful, you like it, you share it, and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much, guys.